Greetings, travelers. This is Mid-Nite at the Drive-Thru, and welcome back to Satisfactory. Now, things have been progressing pretty nicely so far, but today I'd like to see us get a leg up on this power situation thing. Let's just double check, make sure we've got all of our current power suppliers topped up. Okay. Put 2 back in our stack here. Okay. So here's the thought. We have unlocked coal production. And so we have that available to us as a technology. But we don't have a coal supply. We've got a couple of things that need to be dealt with. We're going to want to extract water in order to be able to run a coal generator, because the whole thing is that it boils water to create steam. That's how the power is generated. So for starters, we're going to want to get power up to our little lake here. How far we can go. Oh, right up to the edge here. Perfect. We're going to want to put an extractor for water. Let's see. Let's put the water output on that side. That should be fine. Yes. Now, of course, one of the things that's good to have when you have water being pulled out of a source, you want to be able to lift it up. So let's go ahead and just plant down. We don't have to align it to anything. That should be good. And then don't have any modular frames. I'm going to need that for the fluid buffer. Okay. Well, that will have to wait. But we can certainly... Do I have the materials needed with me? Well, as it happens, I do. And I only need... how many? 5? Yeah, that's doable. So let's just quickly pop down a workbench. Crank out a few leads. Not bad, that should do. Okay. Yeah, this should suffice, I guess. fluid buffer. And these don't care, input or output, either way. Happy. Pop that in. Let's get our pipeline. Run that up here. Of course, there is some lift provided by the extractors. People talk about being able to do this without running any pumps, but I don't see the point. A pump makes sure that you have good force lift. Maybe it's unnecessary. I don't know. But we're going to go ahead and pop power to that right there so we make sure that everything is going smoothly. And we can see that our fluid buffer is beginning to fill up. So when we have something to connect to it, we'll have some nice constant pressure. So now we need to get ourselves some coal. Ideally, it would have been nice if it wasn't getting dark all of a sudden, but that's fine. We can deal with that. Now, it just so happens that I recall where there might be some coal for that sort of use. It is a bit of a trek, that's true, but I think it will be worth the trouble. Am I seeing a yellow slug over there? I think I am. There's a blue one there as well. Oh, I see you. Always pick these up if you can. And Mr. Warhog is down below the lip of that cliff, so I don't even need to deal with him. Somebody has detected me, though. Aha! Yeah, what are you gonna do? Smack your face into the rocks, huh? No crying, Casey. Relax, puss. Casey has come to visit again. Anyhow, I have slightly lost my sense of direction as a result of that, so let me just hop around here, get my bearings again. Yeah. So this is, well, that's the yellow slug. And there is the reason why this is a little bit more trouble. Because if we take a look... Yes, Casey, if we take a look, there is a impossible gulf between these two land masses, which seems a little unreasonable to my mind. So if I had any problem before with using such tools, that's another lizard doggo. Or maybe the same one. I can't tell if it's Rudolph, Casey. I can't tell. Now, important thing to remember when you hop up here. You might not be alone. Yeah, exactly. So that could be a thing to be aware of. Let's throw out a... Boy, you are insistent today, aren't you? Let's throw out a ramp here. And we'll just kind of gently come up under the edge here. Get our slug. And be on our way. With no creatures that might be lurking up top there, the wiser. This is good practice. For as long as I don't have a jetpack, there are many things that are difficult to access. But that's no reason why. Because I don't have time for the lizard doggo at the moment. Yes, I have time for you always, little boy. Here. Sit up in your chair. Sorry about that, folks. I'm gonna hop up. No, you're just gonna sit there and look at me. Okay, that's fine. You are free to do as you please. But this particular technique of crossing the Gulf is of particular interest to us because we want to get over there. Oh, you did get up in your chair. Good boy. Just relax there, puss. Because this is where we want to go. Now you will see that the land below is guarded. So we will need to be aware of that as we hop down. Okay. Yeah, the Xeno Basher is definitely a superior solution. Now, this wasn't a perfect bridge. That's fine. But more importantly, what do we have here? We have a sample of coal, and it's pure. Which means we're going to get max yield out of whatever we mine from here. So let's just back off a little bit so I have a little better perspective. And rotate that so it's kind of pointed in this general direction. That'll do. Now, we have not yet run power over here. This will pull coal at 120 per minute because it's a pure sample. It's a pure deposit. And it only requires 5 megawatts. Which means I can... That's actually 120 per minute is as fast as my fastest conveyors can carry it at the moment, so there's no point in overclocking it. If you overclocked it, you could up it to, with 1, to 180. But a Mark II conveyor can only move 120 per minute, so there's no point in doing that right now. But it is the best use of power shards for doing resources, because for constructors and things like that, you can always just build more constructors. And it's more efficient to do that than to overclock a single one, generally speaking. So, we'll leave it at the default right now, but how do we power it? Well, very simple. We can, for the time being, to let this thing get started, we can throw a biomass burner down. I have brought additional fuel with me, and we can set up a power pole right here, connect those two, and now we just throw some fuel in there, and production can begin. Now, the next thing, of course, is we are going to want to buffer this. By that I mean when it produces stuff. Right now we don't have a conveyor to take it anywhere. We don't want it to... let me change this. Let me re-hotkey button 3 to a Mark II so we do that. So this will start filling this bad boy up at a fairly decent rate. And now we can look at building a proper bridge here. Now, I don't mind the placement, what we already have. Just the position is not ideal. There's rocks on the other side. That's fine. Let's go with this. Then down a little. Excuse me, wrong. I do want to ramp. Cover up that tail for you, Casey. Let's see. Put that in. Yes, it's clipping a little bit, but as soon as I bring power over from my main area, and have that as a permanent installation, the biomass burner will be dismantled, so that's fine. Also, you can, if you want, when you're in dismantle mode, you can hold down whatever key you've got designated. Oh, he decided he didn't want to hang out. You can hold down a key. In this case, I've set it to mouse 4, and everything you look at can be dismantled. I find that it is useful to set the filter, particularly if you are around your base and you say you want to remove a bunch of walls. You don't want to accidentally start taking out huge swaths of your infrastructure. So you highlight the item you want to look at and remove, and now that's the only stuff that will get removed by your mass dismantle. So that's a nice little key trick to use to save yourself the aggravation. Now, it's true that I want coal for more than one use. So what I'm going to do is take my conveyor belt, bring it up here to the edge, and just run it along the edge, like so. Run till it runs out, and I know that I've gone too far. Back it up to the next place where it still works, which the nice thing about being on foundations is that it behaves predictably. You can lock it in by hitting, in this case, H for lock hologram. And then you can use your cursor keys to move precisely the number of steps. And it's a block of foundation is 8 meters across, 4 meters high. So each of these clicks is 1 meter. So if you're picky about such things, I'm just gonna go ahead and put this here, because what I'm going to do is, let's see, for a moment I'm just going to lay these in right here. I'm going to go ahead and put a splitter in, and again, make sure I'm pointing the right direction. So the orange is the input. It's going to go on that side. Hit my lock hologram so I can make sure that it's being positioned where I want. If you, depending on how you lay this, it sometimes doesn't behave correctly. Like this right now would not necessarily automatically complete the journey of this conveyor into the splitter. It will kind of clip to the end of something. Right there, that feels like it's clipping into it. So yeah, now there, it's actually going inside, and when I run new conveyor out the other side and begin heading cross country with it, also, you can rotate your end of your conveyor. I didn't mention this before, I probably should have. But in addition, after you've clicked once, you can raise the end point or lower it before you click again. At the moment, I'm just going to run it across the ground here, but that's what we're doing. And what we want is generally to head in the direction of our little pond. There are some obstacles in the way. But lift this up so it's... Oh, now see, that's interesting. When you extend to the maximum length, if you then go, if I set it right here where it just turns blue and then I click and lift the conveyor up, because it's traveling at an angle, it's a slightly longer path. So if you want to make sure that that's not going to happen, back it up a little bit to be able to do that. All right. Well, I can see the orange in the distance there, so that's where we want to go, more or less. And we can stop a little prematurely here. Pop up another lift. And now we've just got to navigate across this. It's nice to, if possible, plan ahead so that your conveyors won't get in the way if you decide to explore the area in a vehicle. So by setting up them on these opposing high points, a vehicle can easily pass beneath. No trouble. Okay. Oops. Sorry about that. Accidentally clicked Okay. And of course you could always build some foundation with some ramps to go over a low-lying piece of conveyor like this. We still want to head in that general direction. So I put that splitter because we're heading off to the north, whereas our main base is kind of more easterly from there. So it doesn't affect anything if there's only two of you guys. And just mind your own business. I'll be out of your hair in a second.
Relaying message. Hello, this is Paternal Figure. I have taken ill and need your help to find a cure. Doctors say that the only remedy is alien artifacts.
What is that? I never heard it say that before. Trying to pretend that it is your father in need of help, and the only help that can be gotten is the acquisition of alien artifacts. That's hilarious. I'm just gonna go ahead and prop this up somewhere. Can I get you in the middle so it doesn't look stupid? Ugh. No, apparently I can't. If I set it here and get out of the way, yeah, that'll work. Alright, so now we are in the vicinity of where we want to do this stuff. Just route this around the other side of yonder lake. And you can see the coal is catching up to us. Just run this right on over here. That's pretty good. Okay. So at this point, we've got a coal supply coming in. We've got water here. So let's clear out a little vegetation so we can see where we're working. I don't have any desire to get rid of the pale berries. I just generally want to give myself a little open space to work with here. I'm not looking through bushes while I'm trying to lay out my equipment. And remember, even though the conveyor is not moving, back at the start, anything that's not coming out onto the conveyor is just building up in that container, so that's a nice little buffer for that side. Seems like there was more than one on there, but whatever. Those are always good to have. Alright, let's see. How do we want to do this? I think well, let's go ahead and clip to our main structure here. In retrospect, I might have been better off. Why you got to clip through here? Might have been better off pushing the fluid buffer higher, but I think it'll be okay. So, what's going to happen is we're going to, you can tell that I'm clicking keys that are not hotkeys anymore. So let's address that right now. If you hold right Alt and scroll up on the mouse, you can actually change your toolbar at the bottom to a complete different set. So I have a tendency to hotkey things according to their purpose. So I tend to put these in 8 on the plumbing toolbar, pumps at 9, pipelines at 0. Pipeline supports generally produce themselves, so I generally don't have to worry about that. So I will plunk down a cross section right here ish, and I can lock in the hologram by setting that, so I can kind of move it around and get the positioning just the way I like it. And now that's good to go. Drop our pipeline connector, which will just pop right up there. Now we've got the beginnings of a system. We want to, let's have a look and see, just scroll back to my previous tool bar and see how big a coal generator plant is. So that's power coal generator. Problem with some of these large items is they get right up in your face, and the only way to have control as you're laying them out is to use the lock hologram and move things around. So this kind of needs to be off here because the water inlet is on this side. So go ahead and place one of these down and backfill the bottom foundation. If I tried to just place it with the, like I'm doing now with the mouse, just putting it down. If I tried to put the coal generator down the way it was with not enough foundation under it, it would tell me it was too steep. But once you lock in the hologram, it will kind of let you get away with some of that kind of stuff. Alright, so I have properly filled underneath, so we're out on solid ground here. I thought so. It had one more it wanted. 2 more. No, it doesn't matter. So now let's take a look and see what we're looking at here. This wants to use 50 meters, it has a capacity of water of 50 cubic meters. It consumes 45 cubic meters per minute. And if we look at our water extractor, it pulls 120. So in actuality, this will fully supply 3 coal generators, yes? 45, 90, oh no, 135. So it's only 2 not overclocked. And you might say, oh, well, if you complete this link, then you're going to have, switch to my other bar. Oof, I hate when I do that. I don't know if you've noticed by my twitchiness of my mouse hand, I have this condition. It's called essential tremor. It just means I have shakies. And when they're particularly bad, I turn down my mouse sensitivity, so it's less of a problem. But now I can still use this, and I can use several buildings of the same type simply by putting in an elevator switch that back like so, And now I can pop a splitter onto it. Making sure, of course, that the orange arrow is on the left side now because the coal is going to be coming from that direction. And I can actually do all of this again. Let's slap down yet another coal generator. Let's kind of eyeball it here. Not sure why they don't seem to line up perfectly unless you're in the exact spot. But, I mean, they're on foundation, so it shouldn't be a problem. But maybe it's just because I was out over grass on part of it. I don't know. I think that's as close as we can get it. Another toolbar, grab another, oops, cross piece, and really, I want to just lock in the hologram, make sure that I'm centered the way I think. These green lines are supposed to be there to help you see that, yes, this is centered with this other component. And out here in this field, it will probably work. See, there's the second line that shows that this is a line. But when you're in your base and you've got a lot more stuff laying around, sometimes it will point to things that you weren't thinking it was pointing to. And so it doesn't always work. Hello. Okay. Go ahead and just step out of there before I... Oh, I was looking at you. Another Dino. Okay, so now we've got water for both of these. What we now need is one more conveyor. Back to the first toolbar. And point it outwards up top. Throw another splitter on it. And again, input from the left over here. And now we are ready. Go ahead. Connect these two together. Yeah. And we can. I'm going to go ahead and plunk this down here to make it easier, because I will probably be coming back and adding more generators a little later. But for the time being, I now have just one more thing to do, which is to get another connection over here. Yeah, I've already got 2 poles down, and I could probably just use that. I like for my power poles to be close to the things that they're powering. It just makes it easier. Right. So now, as that whole process begins, see, we're using 15 pole per minute per generator. So, total is only 30. And if you recall, our mine is capable, and our conveyors are capable of delivering 120. So we could actually place a total of 8 generators out here based on the coal that we've got coming in. Now, what has that done for our power? Well, we are now running a capacity of 300 megawatts. In fact, if I throw down another extractor, we can actually have enough out here right now to get rid of the biomass burners in the base. because we're already producing roughly that amount of power, but we do want to increase. So, yeah. That sounds good. Okay, well, let's throw down some more. These. And put down 2 more. Obviously, this rock is going to try to get in our way here. Should have enough nudge room. Yeah, perfect. Now that one looks normal. Go figure. Yeah. Walking underneath the... Oh, I need more rotors. Okay. Well, I can actually... Let's give myself a little more room so I stop walking off the edge here. And let's just put down a local workbench. And I like to kind of stick them part way into the concrete just so that they... I say concrete, it doesn't look like concrete, but once I buy the textures, I take all the foundations and make them concrete. So now let's give ourselves a few more rotors. I need screws, and I have plenty of odds on hand, so let's get that going. That is what I said I needed, right? I'm doubting myself. Power. Coal generator. Yeah, I just need 2 more rotors. So as soon as this says... 2 rotors can be built, perfect. Slap those out. We are good. That last generator out there. Get it pretty close and then just lock in the hologram and place it manually. Easy peasy. See, that's what I meant about removing this. I'm going to want to push that back a bit. So, let's get another wrong toolbar. Get another one of these lined up. Now it's saying that that's lined up. That's got the green line there. This has got the green line here, so I guess that's good. Whoops. Did not mean to leave the pole there. Alright. And another one. Now see, this is what I'm talking about. What's it lined up to that it's showing the green line? It's got the green line here, that's fine, but it's pointing at nothing. Unless... No. There's no output on the coal generator, so it's just pointing irrationally. So I've got to move it a couple of spots, and now we have another line, and this one's actually correct. So let's get our pipeline going. Now, you have to be aware you're going to need another water extractor. We're kind of not running too close to limits on what the water's going to be. Oh, I need 10 more rotors again. Alright, hold please. I mean, we're in pretty good shape right now. You're only using half of the output of a Mark I miner. And we're going to be upgrading our miners and conveyor belts soon, so what that pure coal deposit is going to produce is going to be more than enough soon. There's the 10 rotors we need. But I don't want to use up all of the coal because I have other things that coal is needed for. That looks about right. Then that's fine. Run that one to there. Run this around here. See, at some point there is an upgrade to these poles that allows more connectors to them as well, which is kind of important. For now, I end up with a abundance of those. I had that line out for a reason. I was thinking about this. Do I want to put another fluid buffer up? I certainly can. Well, let's get the conveyors going first. Okay. Splitters. Input from the left. Input from the left. Connect conveyors. And now we can reconnect that to the source. It thinks it's clipping through something. What? Oh, it's clipping through the splitter. It's going through the conveyor has a side on it, but it functions as though it doesn't, so it's fine. So do I want... This is only the small fluid buffer. I think I will. I think I will put another... Oops. What am I doing? You're confusing yourself. That's what you're doing. Okay. So let's sit down those. I actually usually go a little higher with this, so this is going to be kind of an experiment. And I'm going to now turn on the clicker on my mouse so that it gives me positive feedback for mouse wheel rotation, because when the shakies are bad, that's what you got to do. So, organization, fluid buffer. Oh, I need more modular frames. Forgot about that. Not to worry, I brought plenty of stuff with me. And now it's back to an odd number, so I won't have a inventory spot consumed by one spare item. Is that good? Yeah, that should be fine. It's not going to be perfectly straight, but it doesn't have to be. Pick that off of there. Get power off of this intermediate object to run a... Place the pump first. Pumps do have multiple, they have two directions, so be sure you're pointing it in the right way. As you can see, the green arrows are pointing downward, and a little blue wave showing the direction of force of the pump would be counterproductive in this case. Oh, I need 2 more rotors for a pump. Obviously, it's going to be necessary to start auto-producing rotors pretty quickly here. Alright, so there's your pump. Pointing in the right direction. And now power. And so all that's left to do is to toolbar, you to you. Now you can, if you need to, just add a new crosspiece in the middle of an existing line and it will cut it in, which is useful. You can do the same thing as far as adding splitters to an existing conveyor. And you'll notice it automatically detects the direction of movement, so you can't rotate where the input is. It knows where the input is. And same thing with a merger. Merger is going to be required to put its output on the output side. So you can join things in, but you can't rotate it around because you wouldn't want to. So, but in this case, I don't think we need to do that. I think we can get away with this bend. Do I care which one? The other one's actually slightly better. So now our fluid buffer is full, our pipelines are full, and we are only missing the final piece, which is pipeline junction, pipeline junction, and these bad boys are ready to start working. Alright, that one's burning fuel. This one says no connection, which doesn't really make sense. I thought we connected you to power. You have water, you have coal. Okay. For reasons that are not immediately obvious to me, what the heck else were you connected to then? Oh, because the power connector's at the back, that first line that looks like it's going into the orange stack there is actually going through this generator to the other side. So yeah. We are powering, getting power in, and then back out to the next pole. Getting power from this pole out to here, back to there. 2 generators. That's all 4 connectors. So that's it. So now, yes, I just showed that, we are looking at a capacity of 450 megawatts. We're only currently using 116, 137, blah, blah, blah. But the 100 or so, 150 that are being produced by the biomass burners are now superfluous. I no longer require biomass burners to be topped up, which means I can reclaim the fuel, and we may have other uses for it soon enough. But that's pretty good. Now we are on a paying basis, as the saying goes. Plus, we've got a great place to go for a dive if we want to swim. We don't. We don't at all. But, yeah. So now the question is, what are we going to do with the rest of that coal? I like that you can just ride the conveyors. Sometimes, if you are placing new conveyors and you're running them in the correct direction, you can just kind of lay one down and follow it across a vast gulf. Provided you have some place to put it. You know, that sphere is called a Mercer sphere. I don't know if I've picked one of these up on camera. But it's another one of these things that does not have any current function in the game.
Picking up multiple fix-it personnel in the area. Proceed with harvest before it's too late.
Hi there. Who wants to get whacked?
Your contract legally compels you to harvest this artifact.
Okay, you're dead. No, no, no. None of that. Last thing I need is some warthogs hanging around. And this thing needs to shut up. Telling me you're my parents. What's the matter with you? Whoa! Don't freak me out there, flying thing. You need a name. I'm gonna call you Arthur. Because you look like a big moth. And if you don't know who that is, then I don't know what to tell you, you uncultured swine. No. Arthur is the moth. His friend is the tick. So now you have something to look into if you don't already know what that is. Also, when you are on conveyors, if you step slightly to the side, you can stop being carried by them, which is nice. There's, looks like another copper deposit down there if I need that. That's good to know. But I think there might be more. I think there might be more out on that outcrop of land. So I still have the option to pick off of this splitter and head straight up over the hill if I want to bring the surplus coal back to the base, which I think I probably want to do if I can. But first things first, let's hop on down here. I guess we don't need to be in dismantle mode. Let's just oh, you know what? I should have run power here while I was doing that, and I wouldn't need to mess with this anymore. It's not consuming very much fuel because it's only eating 5 megawatts. See, this thing's already full. I'm just going to grab a couple of these just to have them. And then let's Let's just take a look around. Oh, yes, it's another one of these things that are not currently used. Isn't this like the little S symbol that I see in graffiti on schoolyards and things? I don't know what it means, but I'm picking it up. There's another slug over there, but that's a little more time spent building bridges over there than I feel like spending at the moment. There's a little quartz down here. Just gotta make sure to not jump off into oblivion, because that wasn't very much. I feel a little bit ripped off. Okay. Now, if memory serves, there might yet be something else of value out on this here outcrop. Careful running through the grass when you can't see where you're going. Ah, what have we here? Be watchful. Don't let anything come along and headbutt you off the cliff. Some spare supplies and a drop pod. This is a drop pod, which is presumably somebody else who tried to land on the planet and didn't land very well. Could be something else, I don't know. That's what I think of it as. And it seems to want, in order to open it, we need 5 modular frames. Well, as we know, I have had the capacity to make modular frames. So let's just slap together a few of those real quick. They are depleting my supply of reinforced iron plates, which is what the Mark II conveyors are composed of, but no problem. So now I can open it. And what do we have? The hard drive of this drop pod. And there is something here.
Data on the hard drive has been salvaged and can be repurposed to unlock an
There you
alternate
are.
recipe. Salvaging more hard drives will provide additional alternate recipes.
Oh, you've got a friend too. Well, I'm glad that we saw him before I came jumping down. You want to get a little closer so I can just whack you from being up top here? Or no? Yes, I recognize that it is a little unfair to stand on top of the foundation and swat them, but again, they like to headbutt you and you're near a cliff of bottomlessness. So, I think all concerns about playing fair are irrelevant. Very finicky hitbox there. Okay. I see you. Come on. Let's get this over with. I didn't want this, okay? This was you. This was all you. Anything else of interest in your little glade here? There's a land bridge that goes over the top of it, so that's interesting. Let's pick these up if you can and get out of dismantle mode. I know there was something out here. Maybe it's up there. Alright, let's backtrack carefully. Carefully. Don't go plunging off the cliff. See, these, with the Blade Runners, those kind of jumps are doable. Okay, well, I see another warthog over there guarding something. I'm probably not wholly mistaken on that regard. What do we got here? Okay. I think I see the problem. Oh, you've seen me, have you? Okay. It's right down there. Too bad I don't have something to drop on your head. We know from experience that the jerk in question Oh, I know you love to be a problem. See, here's the thing. I don't want you to be a problem to me. And at present, I have the means of doing something about that. Come on now. Oh, it doesn't want to build it with him there. Creature is blocking your construction. Yes, I see that he is. But the important thing is, he can't actually get to me out here. So that's useful. Yeah, there is something out here. Unfortunately, this is in the way. There's a deposit here, something, but there's this rock, which you can tell by the fragmented appearance of it, is destructible when you have something with which you can destruct it. I do not currently have such a thing, although there's a power slug over there and another warthog. Perfect. Alright, so I can't really do much with this at the moment. Can I? I can. I can lock you in your little tomb there, buddy. Wait, where'd you go? Oh, there he is. You can just sit there and seethe. Maybe I'll set up a zoo and start charging people admission to come and look at your stupidity. Yeah, go ahead and seethe. Spit plasma at me, will you? Flat-headed bag of puke. Okay, well, gotta remember that that's here. I don't know if I'm really hot enough on the idea of another power slug at the moment to go to the trouble of building a bridge. Oh, there's 2 copper down there. Well, that's good to know. Okay, I saw something out of my peripheral and thought I was about to be knocked off a cliff. Although there is a pair of jerks over there. And we still have that gulf to cross. Uh-oh. We has been detected. One of them saw me. Yeah, so if we're going to go back down, we either have to plan the jump to make sure that we're not going to fall into the abyss between here and the main landmass, or we could just go back the way we came, along the outside edge. Or option 3, I could go get that power slug and build myself a more permanent way back across here. I might just do that. Of course, that does require that I am going to have to deal with you. But I can do that. Aha! Bring it on, Stinky. Come on. You're too small to be throwing rocks at me. Come on, you know you wanna. Look, I can just build another foundation in front of you. Is that how you're gonna make me do this? Fine. That's better. That's not fair. Yeah, I don't care about fair. I care about winning. And when there's an animal that I didn't want the leaves, I want the slug. Really? Okay, fine. Be that way. See if I care. Alright. So now I should be able to come through to the other side of this little glade and find a more natural egress from this outcrop, as opposed to having to jump across the eternal abyss. Anything else of interest over here? I see. Looks like another slug over there. Huge. Oh, hi. Yep, you're gonna be a problem. Where'd you go? Oh. Problem is I can't tell. Yeah, that you can hit the edge of the foundation, which might be what I was doing for several of those shots. Alright, so this just looks like iron. And they're impure to boot, so Really nothing to write home about there. And there's more iron down below. A lot more. 4 deposits right there. I'm guessing they are also impure. Which means not too impressive. Alright, so I think the big thing that I was remembering over there is that deposit that's underneath the rock that I can't currently get to. But now, with my power needs taken care of, I can if I've got enough cable, what does it look like? Oh yeah, I've got lots of cable. I think the best use of my time would be to run permanent power down to replace that biomass burner where the coal is being mined. And then we have solved that whole issue. Which of these is not yet at capacity? It's this one. Fortunately, you can go a little further with these than you can with the conveyors. And I just remembered there was one other element of the Fix-It Christmas extravaganza that I miss, and I might actually go through that whole timeline if it doesn't expire, just so I can get it back, because there was a replacement for the stock power line that allowed you to set regular power lines as Christmas lights, and I just thought that was adorable. Plus it helps you to see them, which is admittedly useful. So let's carry it back until it turns blue. Ooh. Keep on trucking. Yeah, I brought plenty of this stuff with me. Just like that, we're almost back to our point of origination. Perfect. Set that right down about there. Now we can just go ahead and reclaim the biomass burner because it's no longer needed. Perfect. This thing is full because when I go to dismantle it, it'll show me the contents of what is going to have to go into my inventory if I do dismantle it. Since they fit 100 per slot and there are 24 slots in this, that is stock full of coal. So it is definitely producing more than we're eating. So at this point, I think I'm just going to go ahead and call this apart. I will, I don't know how long I've been going for. I mentioned before, I do lose track of time when I'm playing this game, and I lose all sense of what's going on. It seems like I've been at it for a while, so yeah, I think I'll go ahead and call this apart. And maybe later tonight I'll run the excess coal over to the base so that we can begin combining it with the I've got that third iron deposit near the base that hasn't yet been tapped, the one that I originally cleared out the first warthog for. And So if I combine that iron and this coal, the excess coal that's being produced here, I'll be able to start smelting steel ingots in a foundry. And then that opens up a whole bunch of new stuff, all of which is going to be required if we ever hope to get to phase 2. So, until then, this has been Mid-Nite at the Drive-Thru saying thank you for stopping by. I hope you had some fun. And until next time, thank you and drive through. Bye-bye.